Welcome to the Paradigm Shift, episode 74. We got a special treat today. A brand new friend hopping on from the event in Dallas this week. One of those rare connections. You meet somebody like, that's my tribe, that's my people. Gogo, we're going to bring her on shortly. In the meantime, waiting for Big Dave to hop on. The articulate alligator, my partner in crime. The sex octopus, Big Bad Dave Meltzer. Let's do this. Yep. Oh, I see you, Big Dave. You sex unicorn. Let's do it. How many sexy salads did this guy consume? Probably a whole lot, in addition to some beautiful bologna sandwiches. How much pretty pot roast did this guy consume? Think I lost my mind. Or did I find it? What are you laughing at? Did you just hear what I said?
Yeah, I heard. I'm a sexy salad beast, man. I've probably had 4 or 5 already this morning. It's only 7:30 a.m. here on the Pacific time. Big Craig, man, how many episodes have we done in a row?
This is going to be 74, no weeks off.
74. We're almost up to the 76 trombone episode, which will be really good. Maybe we'll have to get a famous jazz musician on here. Well, I'm excited. I got my son's scrimmage today. I got to be out of here at 7:50, but you're welcome to go further than that. But I'm ready to rock and roll. What do you got for me?
Yeah, let's get this party started. I just want to acknowledge you. I called you the other day before I went to the speaking engagement in Dallas with Serhant and our guest today, Gogo. And I said I'm still feeling a little weird. Full transparency, vulnerability from the accident. I was having trouble shaking it.
Well, tell everybody what happened. Not everybody knows. You got to tell them about the accident.
I was hit by a car 8 days ago, but who's counting? In Manhattan, crossing the street, look to the right, speeding car, literally 2 feet away from me, can't get out of it. My only thought is, how do we minimize the damage? My thought process is, I could recover from a destroyed arm, but I'm not going to recover from a destroyed head. So I go like this, and I spin around, car smacks me in the arm, and then hits me in the hip, and I walk away relatively unscathed. But I was surprised at the emotional toll it took afterwards. It's a really interesting dynamic of both immortality and yet mortality. I've never felt more mortal, just because things could change in an instant. But I spoke to you. You got me back to center, minutes and moments, not hours and days. And then also I wanted to say, being at the speaking engagement on stage, networking around big thinkers, all that energy brought me back to life and then some. I love that stuff. I love being around the energy. And it's not to say that I still won't have moments, but I'm back. I wanted to acknowledge you and also how much I love this stuff and pouring into people and the feedback really energizes me.
Yeah, it's so interesting if we can stop, drop, and roll, but first identify fear. The thing about fear and the identification of fear that's so critical is that fear itself is not bad or good. It's how are we applying or utilizing fear? Are we utilizing it to get up, get back up, get started, get back started? Are we utilizing it in the survival part of our brain so that when we look off a cliff or see a speeding car, that we can react quicker? We can utilize our innate sense of survival in order to flee, fight, feed, or even fornicate. And utilizing fear in the correct direction is critical to our success, but we also have to acquire the knowledge that it uses an extraordinary amount of fuel.
Yeah.
It takes an emotional toll. It is a soul sucker and it cannot be sustained. And therefore, we not only can identify when to use fear, but when to stop the fear by breathing, as I had you to do. You use the fear to save your life, and then we use the fear, the identification of the fear, to stop. And what did you do? I had you drop down to center at ease, and then you got on stage with Serhant and others, and you rolled into what you want, who you can help, who can help you, how best you can get that done. Once again, reprioritizing things with the lessons, the light, and the love that you've extracted from the setback, mistake, failure, or pain that you suffered from a near mortal accident, allowing you to continue to grow, accelerate into a trajectory of what you think you want, and taking something that other people, like we said last week with Tim's story, you nursed it for a second, you cursed it for a minute, and now you're rehearsing it for a lifetime to extract how to utilize fear to the best of your ability to expand, grow, and accelerate a trajectory of not only what you think you want, but even better.
Yeah, hell yeah. First of all, I can only imagine how much pretty pot roast you had last night. But I want to say this, and then we're gonna bring on Gogo.
I had some sexy swordfish.
It sounds scrumptious. Everything you said, 100% love it, appreciate all of it. One thing I also learned about myself was it's okay to take a second. You don't always have to be a tough guy and allow yourself to feel the feels. Some people said to me, and I won't mention any names, said, when is the real Craig going to be back? And it was like, just give me a second. Like it was like that close to being over. So allow yourself to take a minute, but then back to Dave and what he said is only a second, minutes and moments, and get back to center. But it would be weird if you didn't allow yourself just a moment to be like, that was a close one. So I love you for that as well.
You got it, man. You got to know those defining moments, those inflection points, extracting the light, the love, and the lessons from it like you have. And I'm just so proud of you. You have grown so much from the days where I met you. And I was so encouraged by your enthusiasm. Remember, enthusiasm means in theos. And theos means in spirit, connected to and through an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing, omnipresent source. And you're clearing a lot of the interference of a typical Wall Street worker, be a typical lawyer attitude or doctor attitude, a control freak, obsessive compulsive, competitive, comparative person. And now you're living outside of that radical arrogance and living in radical humility.
Yeah, and that's relatable to everybody because so many people are not where they want to be. But here's the thing. It's one thing to learn new things, but sometimes you have to take a minute and unlearn some of the stuff that wasn't really taking you where you needed to go, so you can learn the new stuff. Great point as always. I'm going to bring Gogo on. I'm excited for you guys to connect. She's a powerhouse in real estate and so many other things. While I'm bringing her on, Dave, I just wanted to ask you a quick selfish question. I think I'll also hit up for the audience. Looking at your content, as everybody should, I saw you talking about treating advice like a handful of sand. Tell us what you mean.
Yeah, look, when someone gives you their advice, first of all, be grateful because that means they care enough about you to give you advice. Now, you have to treat that advice like a handful of sand because, as I always say, just because someone loves you doesn't mean they give you good advice. So what I like to do is I'm grateful for my handful of advice. I'm grateful for the handful of sand, but then I just let it fall through my fingers with gratitude and I hold on to the grains of sand that resonate with me, that I can bring the most light, love, and lessons from the people who know. So you were at that great real estate event with close friends of mine, Ryan Serhant. I'm not going to go ask, Bob Proctor about real estate advice. I'm going to go ask Josh Flagg and Ryan Serhant and other ones of my friends that are sitting in a situation that I want to be in and can give me the directions how to get there. All the other people that give me real estate advice, I just let it gratefully fall through your hands. So treat all advice with gratitude, but let it fall through your hand like a handful of sand.
That's where we drop the mic, but we'll just get warmed up. It's my honor to introduce my new
Hi, David.
Romanian best friend, Gogo, to my mentor, Big Dave. Hey, Gogo.
Hi, it's an honor to be here. When Craig said yesterday, I'm just going to bring you on with David, right? And he said your name, and I'm like, I know that name. And I go over to your profile, I was like, oh my gosh, I followed him for years. So it's my absolute honor to be here. So thank you guys. But I want to add on to that subject. One of my favorite saying is, don't ever ask a broke friend how to make $1 million.
That's a great one.
Right? Just because they are your friends, they're probably going to tell you can't do it because they didn't, right? So friends are, I never ask. We have friends of all walk of life. And I think when they mean of like the 5 people that you're surrounded with, right? I look my circle of friends and family different than I look at my business people that I surround myself with, right? But I'm also not going to mix the two. Like I'm not going to ask a friend how to invest into syndications if they've never done it, right? Because that's not their cup of tea, but I can go salmon fishing up north with them and have the best time of my life, right? So I feel like if you can have different circles, and in each circle, you're the average of those 5 people, what they serve in your life, what purpose they serve.
Yeah, beautifully said, Gogo. And also, Dave, like, seek counsel, not opinions, right? Because sometimes the people that love us most will give us the wrong advice.
Yeah, and what Gogo's talking about, I love because it's spheres of intention. And I know a lot of people talk about you're the aggregate of the people, the 5 people that you spend the most time with. But I tend to lean toward what Gogo's saying is that I have aggregates or collective consciousness of each sphere of intention, because each sphere of intention, so like, for example, I have a sphere for family. I have a sphere of intention for sporting events. I have a sphere of intention for real estate. I have it for NFTs and Web3. I have different spheres of intention where I'm trying to elevate my frequency, which, as you know, Craig, is my neighborhood, right? So I want to have people that can give me more options, more opportunities, and more touches of favor in each of those spheres of intention. And I don't allow myself to take the advice as counsel. I take advice from my mom about business, but she falls into that category. Why would I ask advice from someone who's never made any money about money? I mean, or never had a business about business, or never had real estate about real estate. And it's okay to have a handful of sand of advice, but once you hold on to the grain of sand, then it becomes counsel, which means it's coming from a sphere of intention, which means the person does it, says it, thinks it, believes it, and feels it, so that they can give you directions to the same level of intention that they have.
Could you be on any more fire this morning? That's all I got out of that.
Well, I got to elevate myself, because I'm in, you know, they always say you're in the right room when you're the dumbest one in the room. So I'm in the right room.
This is a great place where we can take this conversation. One thing that both of you guys do so well is you both have big teams. Gogo has over 1,000 people that work with her, and Dave, obviously you're fast, and you have such a loyal team that works for you. And Gogo, I was looking at your content of you, and I want this conversation to be even more on fire. And one thing I saw you talk about, which Dave also does, is when it comes to like bonus stuff like that, you like to dangle a carrot at the end of a goal, so somebody has a little bit more incentive. And let's be honest, we could all use that. Why do you do that, and why is it so impactful for you, Gogo? And then Dave, I'd love to hear why you do that too.
Well, I kind of do both. I call it CPR. C stands for commitment, P is penalty, and R is reward, right? Because I'm a very strong personality, so I only do whatever I feel like doing. And if I don't feel like doing it, I'm not doing it, right? But there are certain things that you still have to do, like paying your taxes. And like, I still have to look over those numbers, like it or not, right? So I do CPR with things that I don't feel like doing, but it has to get done, because then I have to use something against myself. So then I know I'm going to take action, or else. Right? So C is your commitment. Of course, you give it a time frame, right? So you say, I have to look over my taxes by Friday, right? Whatever that C is for you, whatever your commitment is. P is your penalty. What happens if you don't do it? But it only works if you're a man of your word. So for me, usually I set my penalty so high, I'm deathly afraid of heights. So I'm not jumping out of a plane, right? So I'd be like, okay, if I don't get it done by Friday, I have to go jump out of an airplane. Right? But then it only works if you are a man of your word. And Friday comes around and you didn't do it, you're scheduling, you're jumping out of an airplane, like now, not 10 years from now, not when you're 94, like now, right? Because you have to feel that pain. And the next one is the reward. Sometimes I'm driven by the reward if I set it good enough. And sometimes I'm driven by the penalty if it's painful enough, right? Penalties are things like you can't hug your children for a month.
Yeah.
That's painful, right? To some people, actually somebody said this, that you have to donate for the opposite political party. Ooh. Right? So if they have strong beliefs in some certain thing, and now you're going to have to donate for the opposite political party. Like, hold on a minute, I am not doing that, right? And then the reward is like, you know, that Gucci belt or whatever that thing is, that trip, that massage, a day off, your phone face down for a day, right? For me, somebody take my phone for a day, because if I have it, I will just I'll check it very quick, right? But giving my phone over to someone and be like, you know what? I'm going to put my feet up, and if something's on fire, call 911. Like, those kind of things are rewards, right? So then you set your reward that is so good that you know that in the end of that, when you check your taxes by Friday, you're going to get that, you know, book that trip to Bora Bora. Whatever that you wanted for so long that you just never done it.
Dave, I know you love a good acronym. CPR, baby.
Yeah, I like that. Having a bigger company and managing so many people, it's interesting because you cannot utilize your own personal beliefs of, you buy hands and backs, but you can't buy hearts and heads. And so what I try to do is I pay a salary for the hands and the hearts. What you do and what you've done determines what salary you get from working with me in my industry, in my career. But I'm a big bonus guy, right? Everyone has unlimited vacation. And your bonus for 4 things, and they incorporate CPR in some respects. One is just engagement, because I think most people don't understand engagement, that most people that work with us, if we can double their engagement, over 90% of employees in America aren't engaged. It's like having Tom Brady on your football team and he's sitting on the bench the entire time, not playing, not practicing, not participating. It's amazing, especially with remote working, how many people are not participating in the perception that you want them to participate in. So I give a bonus every month for the level of engagement, because I know if you're engaged, you're productive. 2, asking for help. This is one that most people don't think of. I've always given a dummy tax award every month for the person who made the biggest mistake and had the biggest impact on the company, the biggest lesson for that mistake. But to ask for help as a bonus, you're encouraging people to do what we were talking about earlier, to accelerate the steps to get to where they want to be by finding someone who within your organization is already there. And instead of trying to waste time and make the same mistakes that have been made before, simply get them to be courageous enough to ask for help. The third one is student of the calendar. Student of the calendar allows them to pay attention and give intention to the coincidences that we all want with the activity we get paid for. And so they're studying how to be efficient, effective, and statistically successful. So even if they're not highly engaged, but they're efficient, effective, and statistically successful, this is usually salespeople especially. I'm okay bonusing a salesperson who's just kick ass with time. And because you have unlimited vacation, if you're producing twice as much with half as much time of engagement, good for you. Now, if you want to quadruple that, you're going to make more money because I give you commissions and I'll give you more bonus. But I actually bonus for that of how well you provide a productive, accessible, and gracious lens to the time or activity you get paid for. And so with that, the last one is really interesting because I'm sure Gogo, because you deal with so many people, you'll love this one. People lie to themselves. They lie. And what happens is, especially if innately you have a need to be offended, which I do, they lie to themselves. And then, of course, when they're lying to themselves about how they're utilizing their time, or if they did what they promised to do, or whatever else they're lying to themselves about, doing their best, learning lessons, or having fun, they're going to lie to you. And some people are so good at lying to themselves, you guys, that they don't even know they're lying to you. They believe their own bullshit. And then they live in blame, shame, and justification. They're what I call the extra milers, Craig. As you know, they go the extra mile every once in a while. Then they justify why they are not where they want to be or not being paid what they should be paid because they went the extra mile last week. And then they took off 4 days, or they went on a trip. It's such bullshit. And so I'm bonusing for every month. So you get a restart every month. I don't want to penalize you for your whole career. Every month it sits on its own. And you're paid your salary for what you do and what you have done, your back and your hand, and you're paid your bonus for your heart and your head. And if I can get all of those motivated, incentivized, and accelerated, it's amazing. And you've seen it in my company, Craig. It's amazing how productive, how much value we provide, how accessible we are to others, how we receive, we access what we want. And most importantly to me, as you both know, how grateful my company is. We find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. Even shit people get destroyed over, we find the light, the love, and the lessons in it. I'm just blessed to be here, and I appreciate the CPR. I'm going to incorporate that into my system, Gogo, and Craig as well. I hope you don't mind me jumping off a little bit early. I got my son's scrimmage. I hate wearing Cowboy stuff, but he's on the Cowboys, so I'm wearing this T-shirt. Don't think I'm a Dallas fan. I'm not fooling you.
Nice to meet you, David.
Yeah.
Come visit me. I'd love to have you on some of my shows, Gogo. I look forward to meeting you in person.
Me too.
Gogo,
Thank you, guys.
Go hang out for another minute if you can.
Sounds good.
I wanted to ask you this one. First of all, that was awesome. And I love your stuff. Another thing that you said, which is this is going to help literally everybody on here today, is ships don't sink because the water gets around them. They sink because the water gets in them. And this is something that no matter where you are in business, career, life, relationships, everybody can benefit from. Tell us what you mean by that one.
It's just you know, we are in control. Like, you have to control who you allow in, right? Because there are some people that are not our people. You know, when I met you, I knew you were my people right away from the moment that you walked in the door and you shook my hand. I was like, he's my people, right? I felt your energy and you are my people. But you have to be very, very careful who you allow in, right? Just because there's actually a great, one of my go-to videos early on in my career started with Arnold Schwarzenegger has one. I think it's called 6 Rules of Life. I don't know if
Love
you've seen
Arnold.
it. Yeah, 6 or 7 rules of life. But one of them in there, you know, it talks about don't ever listen to the naysayers. And in other ways, I like to say it is that I start caring about your opinion as soon as I can deposit it into my bank account. Right? So as soon as it has meaning that everybody forms their opinion about things because of the things they went through in life. Right? And they're going to tell you that if it didn't work for them, they're going to tell you that it's not going to work for you because that's what they believe, right? So you have to be careful who you allow into your circle and what kind of thoughts you allow to enter your brain, because the more you allow in, the more you have to fight, right? Because you have to stay in your truth and in your belief. And so you just don't allow those people in. It's that simple. You know, they can be around you, they're just not going to get in.
Yeah. Sometimes it's easier said than done, especially when it's someone in your inner circle. But if they are, you have a choice to make. How much longer can they hang out, or can they take up real estate inside your inner circle? And for the audience, I would say this: just because someone has been in your life for quite some time, it doesn't give them a hall pass to be there forever. Because as we continue to grow and evolve, sometimes we fall out of alignment with different people.
It's okay to outgrow people. That's what I say all the time. It's absolutely okay to outgrow people. People come and enter your life and they serve a purpose. And as soon as they serve their purpose and you learn that lesson, you move on. And it's absolutely okay to move on, right? Some people come and stay a lifetime. Those are your childhood friends, right? Those are your mom and dad, your brother and sister, the people that enter your life and adhere on a family basis, right? But then the ones that, let's say you're in a work environment, I remember initially early on in my real estate career, there was this gentleman who took me on. He wasn't officially my mentor, right? But he took me on as, you know, he took me under his wings when nobody else was available. He was the greatest heart, right? And I passed him at some point in production, and it felt so weird, right? It was like, this is not right. Like, I shouldn't pass the person who taught me, right? But it's okay. That just means that you worked harder for longer than somebody else did.
Yeah.
And if they no longer serve a purpose in your life, you move on to the next person. And you know, I love to surround myself with people who are 10 steps ahead, right? Because then they can constantly teach me something I don't know. I'm constantly the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah, I love this. And it reminds me of a conversation we were having, I don't know if it was yesterday, the day before. You're always growing, you're always evolving, you're always changing and so forth in different seasons of life. And that's one of the I love about you. And you surpassing that mentor, I've been there as well. Like, not everybody has the same vision. Not everybody wants to keep expanding. So kudos to you. I love it.
Thank you. And that was the other thing. You said not everybody has the same vision. I do a lot of coaching, right? And I was on a coaching call with this person. And of course, my natural instinct is that I see the potential in you and I want you to go for it, right? I want you to go for the moon and the stars and do freaking circles around it, right? And take pictures and post it, like, as I like to say, right? And I was on this coaching call and I was pushing this person, right, to what I thought that they are capable of doing. And this person just looks at me and said, but Gogo, that's not my dream. I just want to sell one house a month. And I was like, oh, okay, right? So you have to meet people where they are. Just because I want this and I'm going for it full force, and somebody doesn't want that, they want this, and they stay here, this is when you outgrow them. And that's okay. That's their prerogative. If that's what they want to achieve and that's what they want to stay, that's their prerogative. That doesn't mean, in order for you to not, you have to continue on to chase your dreams, right? And that's automatically going to make you outgrow them.
Yeah, so true. Doesn't mean anybody's right. It just means some people are a little hungrier than others, for lack of better words.
Exactly.
Well,
and you remember what Ryan said on stage? I was actually very surprised, because I do it, but I don't think I so bluntly say it and put it out there, where he said that his childhood friends or college friends and stuff, it's not like he doesn't talk to them, but they're in this group text on mute.
Yes.
Yep. And that was just like, wow, okay. You said it out loud. They're probably watching, right? Yeah. But isn't that true though? Like you can give it some time in real estate in your brain, but only when you have the time.
Yeah, and also like when you go to like for example, spending time with you and Ryan and everybody, like that big thinking mode. We're gonna let's dream big, think big. That's personally what I love the most now. But you have those friends that maybe are still doing the same shit they were doing in high school, whatever the case may be. You can allocate some time to that, but you just know like when you get into that different type of conversation. And I'll give another analogy, like once in a while you feel like turning your brain off. Maybe everybody has that guilty pleasure that one on. You're like, all right, I'm not really gonna get better from this, but I'm not gonna think, and that's okay.
That's what I do, right? I feel like my brain is on fire all day long. Like I just go. I think. It's like a computer where you have a million tabs open because I have so many businesses, right? And so many ideas and I'm constantly going. Everything has to go simultaneously. It's not like I'm running this business on Tuesday and this business on Wednesday, right? It doesn't work like that. Everything's running at all times. So sometimes when I finally have a minute, I just want to like plop into the couch and watch some nonsense television just so I'm not thinking. So then I give my brain a chance to like come up for air, right? And then I just watch some nonsense where I don't actually have to pay attention. I'm not watching it because I'm planning on learning something. I'm actually giving a break to my brain, but I'm still not ready to go to bed.
I can't believe we've only known each other for 48 hours. Pretty crazy.
I know, right?
So much alignment, so much synergy, so much fun with you. Best part is, it's just the beginning of the friendship. We'll land the plane with this. From the speaking engagement 2 days ago in Dallas, so many takeaways. For you personally, what's one takeaway just from the whole event itself that really stuck out to you?
I mean, I had a couple, right? I had that text message thing that Ryan said, and I'm like, yeah, I do that. I just don't say it out loud, right? And then the other thing was for me, when he showed up in his hoodie and it said Serhant on it, when I travel, I always travel in my Team Gogo t-shirt. Always. Huge letters on my t-shirt says Team Gogo, right? And I bought these girls, so then they make them even bigger, right? It stares you right in the face. So it's like a conversation starter, and I do that all the time. When I travel, it's always a Team Gogo t-shirt, and it's a conversation starter. What's that? What is Team Gogo, right? And it's just a reassurance that I've been doing the right thing.
Hell yeah.
Building your own brand and wearing it proudly, right? Like put it out there for the world to see, even if it's just you and you're a single realtor and you just sold your first house, right? Who cares? They don't know that. I never forget somebody saying is that we had this conversation, yeah, but I'm new. And I said, well, I didn't know that. You told me that, right? So unless you tell the world of what you are, they don't know.
True.
It's only in your head. So wear that proudly. Wear it like you're already Serhant. Wear it that you already have a Team Gogo. Wear it that whatever you have going on in your life, print it on a freaking unit, put it on, or shrink wrap your card, whatever that's called when they wrap it on the side, right? Like live like you already made it.
That's right. And also, like, it doesn't matter where you're at now. Another thing that reminds me, where you're going to be. Think about that and act that now.
Yeah. If you believe it, right? If you believe that that's where you can go, you can have it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And if you don't believe it, that's because you have to train your brain. Like if there are certain things, I set my goals that I always live in the future, right? It's not good enough. And I set my goals all the time. And if there's something that I want, but then it kind of gives me that feeling of like, I don't know, can I have that? I'm not there yet, right? Like we all have that feeling. Then I'll sit down literally and close my eyes and I meditate on that idea. So I already know what my oceanfront house is going to look like. I literally know what it's going to look like because I sat there for so long. I imagined it. I know it's just only a matter of time. When I'm ready, God will provide, right? And what I want you to do, if this is your only takeaway today, if there is something that you want, but it makes you like, I don't know, I'm not there yet, maybe, next year, right? Then you need to sit down and then you need to teach your brain. You need to teach your brain, your third eye, right? With your closed eye, you'll sit there and you don't freaking move until you can see it, until you can close your eyes and see yourself in the backyard. And I can hear the breeze and I can smell the food and I can hear the kids and my best friends and maybe even grandchildren running around. I can feel that it's warm and ocean is where God is to me, right? And you can feel yourself and see yourself in a 360 with your eyes closed, you can have it. To force your brain to see it so then you can have it.
Hell yeah. And it reminds me of like that future like being grateful for stuff that haven't even happened yet because your brain doesn't know the difference feeling. Loved it.
But here's the thing, right? If you do this long enough, you are like, holy shit, I just did that. And actually, I just did that with Ryan Serhant. I was like, oh my gosh, this works. It works every time, right? So I saw somebody speaking with Ryan, somebody that I follow, right? And they were speaking with Ryan on stage. And I was like, you know what? I want to speak with Ryan one day. I am not kidding you, Craig. A week and a half later, Buck is calling. Mind you, I probably done a podcast with him somewhere in the past, right? And he goes, hey, Gogo, I have an opportunity for you. I'm like, what is it? He goes, I have this speaking engagement. I know it's in a week and a half, but if you could make it, it's with Ryan Serhant. It will be amazing. And I'm like, what did you just say? Because it was a day before my son's birthday. And for me, it's always family first, right? Like I'm hustling, but family first. And then if I can make it work. So then I woke up crack of dawn on Wednesday morning, right? So I can travel to get there, to literally take a 10-minute freshen up, put new clothes on, go downstairs, speak, go out to dinner. That's why I met you, right? Just before the stage. And then go out to speak, which we sat next to each other. And that was it. Then we did a little tour of Dallas in 2 minutes. I went to bed. I woke up at 4:30 again. And I was home by noon, right? So you can make it work, but this works. If you know where the heck you want to go, what the heck do you want? Even the Bible says, you shall ask and you shall receive. But if you don't ask, then you're going to get nothing.
Yeah.
You need to know where you're going.
Yeah. I just want to say I love you.
I love you.
Crazy. Seriously, like, it's one of those rare connections instantly. Like, that is my goal. We already chatted this morning. I'm so excited to be a friend. And when we had a guest at the last second because they had a family emergency, and immediately just thought of you. What's the best way, and I'm going to show you, what's the best way for my audience and Dave's to support and follow you on your journey?
Yeah, so Gogo's real estate on everywhere. I started out, you know, as a broke realtor, like every realtor, right? But I stuck it out long enough, 11 years. So I started Gogo's real estate because I had no sphere. I'm from Romania, right? So I didn't go to college. I don't have cousins. I seriously moved to this country without $200 borrowed, and I didn't know a single human being. So I had to build a...
No big deal.
No big deal. I figured, I'm like, everybody was like, aren't you scared? I'm like, I know where Romania is. If this doesn't work out, I'll be on the first plane back, right? Like, where am I going to go? So I had to build up with social media. I started Gogo's Real Estate, and pretty much all of my businesses now are built off of. I have multiple different brands now, but Gogo's Real Estate is the original one, right? And that's where you can find me. And that is also the only one that I personally answer. Everywhere else, I have virtual assistants. So Gogo's Bootcamp, Gogo's Gogopreneur, Team Gogo, all of those things are all, you know, built off of, you know, through the 11 years that I've been in business. But Gogo's Real Estate is the original.
Hell yeah. And what I love about you, you do so many different things. So excited to build a friendship. I want to thank Big Dave for hopping on before his kids' game. Gogo, thank you for joining us today. Love you so much. So excited to build a friendship. I'm sure you and I are going to talk later.
Yes.
Unbelievable weekend, and enjoy your kid's birthday.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Now, here's the thing. If you learn something today, it only works if you do. You have to put it in motion. So whatever you learn today, go implement it into your life so you can take yourself to the next level. Because you can't possibly go to the next level with being yourself today. That's a different level.
That's it. Knowledge is potential power. Take it and run with it. Love you so much. We'll chat later.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye, everyone. Have an awesome weekend.
Bye, Gogo. Paradigm Shift, episode 74 in the books. We'll see you next week as Big Dave and I take no weeks off. That's one thing you can count on. Nothing will stop us. Have an unbelievable week, guys. Don't forget to take the knowledge and apply it. Just like Gogo said, it's the only way it works. If you heard something good today, apply it. If you love the conversation, share it and tag both Dave and Gogo and myself. Love you guys. Have an unbelievable weekend.